Step into the Incense and Whiskey Sanctuary with mindfulness enthusiasts and verified whiskey lovers, Mecca and Ashley, as they discuss all the random topics they love, from mindfulness to memes. This is Ashley.
And this is Mecca.
Okay, Mecca. So in the period of COVID-19, taking care of our minds, our spirits is definitely of the utmost importance. And I want to talk to you about therapy during COVID-19. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Okay. So I personally have been seeing my therapist virtually through video conference. And this is something she offered before COVID-19 became a deciding factor for this. But I was hesitant to do it, to be honest. I was not sure I wanted to get on Zoom, Skype, or any kind of platform.
What was your hesitation?
I don't know. I haven't unpacked what the hesitation was, nor do I think I will ever get there, because now I was forced to do it, right? And being forced to do it right now has led me to see it's actually very helpful for me. One, I'm never late. Okay, this is the first thing. I'm never late, so I'm getting my full 50-minute experience. And I'm in the comfort of my home. I can speak very comfortably. I mean, not that I can speak comfortably before, but it wasn't just the rushing of getting there and collecting my thoughts and being able to make sure I'm having a constructive session because I'm distracted by what happened to me in the elevator, why the elevator took so long, etc. So I'm finding therapy, my individual therapy, to be very helpful. And I'm also actually continuing marital therapy for my partner and I in our sessions there. So both of those have been very comfortable. I've gotten written agreements discussing that I'm okay with this, that this is not being recorded, etc. And it's given me a lot of comfort during this time and trying to take care of my mental well-being.
Okay.
So what are your thoughts? Would you ever think about doing virtual therapy sessions or video conference therapy sessions?
Oh, well, I guess it's two things. I mean, I would have probably already had to be going through therapy, and then for whatever reasons we got on, we couldn't see each other face to face, and then I decided I would still see this person virtually. So I would have to make that decision.
So it need to be someone you were comfortable with before.
Yeah, it would have to be somebody I'm comfortable with. But I'm actually doing something. It's not really therapy. It's more of subconscious therapy and training that I've been actually meeting with a practitioner for the last 3 weeks now. I met her in person. I felt comfortable with her, and then we started this sessions. Mind you, I've always been against doing anything of this nature online through video. I always prefer the personal one-on-one energy, because I just feel like you can see that person, they can get your energy. But what I've learned over this last 75 days or 70 days, that can actually happen, virtually through video call. So at one time I was absolutely against it. But I have been shown that this is effective and it can be done. So yeah, I would be for it. I don't think I would seek out a new person. I would have met that person in real life, I feel like, to be the process.
Can you tell us more about the energy? Are you sensing an exchange of energy virtually that you were concerned or not?
Yeah, I was definitely concerned that person wouldn't be able to sense my energy, like what I'm bringing, what I'm offering. Yeah. And would I be able to get a sense of their energy? I don't want to feel like I'm going back to that best person, like I'm going to give you a facade, a Mona Lisa. I want to be able to make sure I'm getting Susan. Is this Susan in real life? Is this Susan on Zoom? What is it? So I just like authenticity. So I was afraid that wasn't going to happen. And again, this scenario also started in person.
Yeah. Which helps, I'm sure, because you've already established what that individual's energy and demeanor is like, so that when you're in a video conference with them, you can interpret their body language or
Exactly. Their
reactions.
tone.
Okay. Their tone. Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. So something that I've also found helpful, I will say, different podcasts. Shout out to Therapy for Black Girls.
I was just getting ready to ask you about that. Have you ever heard of
Yeah. Dr. Joy Harden hosts a podcast called Therapy for Black Girls, where she talks about different topics and has guests come on, other therapists, to discuss anything from how to deal with a miscarriage, or how to, navigate being a Black woman in leadership in your work environment. I will say she always starts the show with the caveat of, this is not meant to be a replacement for actual therapy experiences with, a professional. And but I think for those individuals who maybe can't afford therapy, or maybe don't have someone that they've met that they would feel comfortable doing sessions with, something like that is a great tool and resource to look to. I mean, and also I feel like having different therapists on her podcast helps me get exposure to different ways of thinking and techniques, I guess, than my own individual therapist. And then I'm able to say, hey, I heard this thing, and bring it back into my therapy sessions and explore that with her. Which I think is great if your therapist is open to that. And something that I found like strangely very helpful is Insta therapy. I don't know. Are you familiar with this, Mecca? Like
no, you have to tell me what Insta therapy is.
Okay. So when I say Insta therapy, I am talking about, there are therapists who maintain Instagram accounts with snippets of information or quotes. So for example, let's say you were thinking about trauma and childhood trauma and how that's affected you. In my therapy sessions, I've learned about trauma with a big T, and that's things like the loss of a parent at a young age or something like that. And then trauma with a little t, which could be something like an experience that you had a negative reaction to. It could be any number of things. And oftentimes we tend to only really talk about trauma with the big T and not really consider trauma with a little t and how that's impacted us. That's a concept that my therapist introduced to me, but really didn't hit home for me until I read someone's Instagram post where they were saying, if you had a parent that was not emotionally available at all times, or you had a parent that relied on you to care for yourself and your siblings more often, that could be, that could impact you. That could be a form of trauma. And I think a lot of us experience things that we don't think of as trauma. And we just say, well, that's just how it was. And we push through. A lot of people ascribe to that, especially in the Black community. We push through, we persevere. We as a people, I think, have just experienced all types of trauma. And so you start to kind of categorize trauma. And I think Insta therapy provides another way to think about concepts and talk about them. And really, what are your thoughts? What is your response?
Now, I mean, I didn't realize it had a term to it, but I thought those were more like motivational, inspiration, things to think about posts that I would see. So I have seen what you're referring to. And I've seen it from people that are, have the titles and the letters behind their names, and the people that absolutely don't have letters behind.
Let's talk about the ones who don't.
And also within the spiritual realm, because you see the doctors, the ones that don't have it, and then you have people that are like, maybe they're the goddess of whatever, or a spiritual third eye, and they also give you some quotes. So now that I didn't realize it had a whole term to it, but you're right, Insta therapy. It's like, maybe I'm looking at a certain quote all the time from someone that just said, it's funny because sometimes I can let me just actually go into my phone and see what I have screenshot within the last 24 hours.
Right, because you've probably seen something like this and it resonated with you.
And it goes, shout out. Here's one.
Okay.
Shout out to all the people trying to deal with their own shit on top of all the other shit.
Yeah.
Now, I was like, oh, look at there. I just, I just screenshotted that because I was like, yep, I like that. Minding your own business and not giving a flock.
Yeah.
And now it's like, that's how you can do self-care for yourself. So I think
yes, it's clever. It's clever.
Yeah.
I think it helps to introduce I mean, I never heard of the phrase self-betrayal before until I saw a posting about self-betrayal by and I'll just say like a therapist on Instagram.
Yeah.
And that was a concept I was able to be like, wait, I do this. I've never heard of this word before, but I do this and I want to talk to my therapist about it. And so I don't know, it's I don't think instant therapy, let me also say, instant therapy alone is not going to help anyone.
I think
But
it's
I
the
do think
precursor. It gets you to start thinking,
yes.
wanting more.
Yes,
right?
I do think. I think it is a useful way to get exposure to different types of topics and ways of thinking that you can bring back into a therapeutic session with the professional or a conversation with whomever you're looking to for that kind of emotional support or guidance or building your toolkit, etc. So yeah, I agree. I definitely think it could be a precursor.
One of the things that I do want to add, for anyone that can't even, they feel like, oh, I can't afford it or I don't have health insurance, I would also start looking at a lot of the universities and some of the universities that have is a psychologist like department or in-house school therapists. A lot of schools are offering this up free of charge during this quarantine time to people that may not have insurance. Maybe they were former students at a school. So you can always look into those pieces. And then also think about your instant therapy. The other day I was scrolling through AJ Johnson's, I don't know if you know who that is. AJ Johnson is,
Yeah, I'm familiar.
Yeah, I guess she's kind of like a life coach and pseudo therapist. So it's not like she's Dr. AJ Johnson, but she has these soulful sessions that people get on, and she asks these thought-provoking questions to start making you think. So again, that's kind of like instant therapy, in my opinion, live version. So you may not be getting therapy, but it does start the process of wanting more and seeking more for yourself. If you're looking for self-improvement, or how do I, why do I think like this? How do I come over this blockage? Everybody's using all these new terms that we're trying to remothering yourself or reparenting yourself. All these different terms that are being used now. And if you want to figure it out, you can do that on Instagram and following people that are offering snippets of counseling. I have air quote counseling sessions.
Yeah. I mean, I think the ways that social media is being used, we've seen negatives, and for me, this is a positive. So I think in terms of entities that I follow, I think Insta therapy, I don't want to call them Insta therapists, but therapists on Instagram making these kind of posts, want to thank them for making social media a platform that they're using and a place for people to find these things and to think about them.
I agree. And thank you for bringing this up, Ashley. I think it's important.
All right. Is this like the Black girl meditation music? We had questions and we went to find the answers. Welcome to the Quick-Witted Expert.
All right.
Okay, so Mecca, this is the 15-minute expert. This is a segment where we have researched a topic and want to take the next 15 minutes telling you what we've learned, sharing the knowledge. Are you ready for this, Mecca?
I'm ready. It's one of my favorites.
How familiar are you with the concept of breathwork?
I'm familiar with it. I guess I'm familiar with it. I know that they've coined it as this like new thing, and some people have been doing this forever and they just didn't have a term for it.
Yes.
So,
So I definitely would say, based on my research, breathwork is based in some ancient practices, definitely found for any long-term yoga instructors or people who have taken yoga. This may not be a new concept for them, but I do think, to your comment, Mecca, the terminology breathwork may
yeah.
be a newer coined term. But based on my research, breath work is defined as any practice in which we consciously manipulate our breath over a period of time for a desired outcome. And it's characterized by different breathing patterns, lengths, and repetitions of inhalation and exhalation, and retention. And by retention, we mean actually holding your breath. And I know in Pilates teacher training, I have learned that an inhale and an exhale is a full breath cycle. So we're introducing some new terms here: breath work, breath cycle, retention. How are we feeling? Are you with me, Mecca?
I'm feeling you. I just think it's so funny how all of a sudden these things that people have been doing all of their lives now
Yes.
coined name to it. I was listening to someone we're doing the 4x4x4 breath work. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, let out for 4 seconds.
Yes.
And then, that's going to clear your mind and you're going to be ready for this new thought process. So I think it's great because everybody are now getting on the same realm, but we gotta make stuff mainstream to make it feel good and palatable for people. So I'm
accessibility.
yeah. 66. I'll have to give a funny story that happened to me in physical therapy just the other day about.
Okay, what happened? Tell us what happened.
So, I was in a car wreck in February, but I've been going to therapy because my ankle is just jacked up, right?
Okay.
And we're going through these massage pieces, and I tell the doctor, I'm like, yo, this massage chair is great, but I need something else. I need something that's going to help my ankle and my left leg and my hip.
And then they told you breathwork is the answer.
And he comes back in. He's like, Mecca, you know what? The government doesn't want me to give you all that. They just want us to do the bare minimum. I said, well, listen, I'm going to go somewhere that I can get the help. So then he comes back. He's like, you got 30 minutes. I'm like, yeah, I got 30 minutes. So he goes on he talks to me about what things that I can do at home. But then he starts talking about breath work. Older guy, he had to be, I don't know, 65, Nigerian doctor. I say this because he comes from a different era than myself and what people may think of as, breath work experts. He's a chiropractor. But his first thing that he said to me was, they're not teaching you that breathing starts this whole process with therapy. It's not just massage and the manipulations to the back. It starts with breathing. And so he sits down with me and he was like, I want you to give me a deep breath. Fill your belly up. And I'm like,
belly breathing.
Okay. So fill your belly up, hold it. Don't let go until I tell you. Okay. And at this point, I'm like, I'm doing it. I'm just doing what you're telling me to do. And then let it out through your mouth. And I want to hear it. Okay. So we're going through this process. We did it probably about 5 times. How do you feel after that? I feel good. I feel clear. My ankle still hurts, but yeah. Next, he wanted to get my mind to a point that I was going to be receptive to the exercises that he was getting ready to show me.
Okay.
Like breath work was going to get me at a place of ease and to stop being so intense about getting to the work, because I kept saying, what can I do? What can I do to make this work? What can I do to fix this? He wanted to get me to a stage of calmness to where he could do the work without me resisting it.
Okay.
Which I thought was interesting. So I guess that was a breath work exercise I had at physical therapy.
Okay. Well, you did hit on something that I think is important to let the people know. There are some known benefits that's still under exploration. The science is not fully caught up yet, but the thought is that the benefit of focusing on breath work is that you will likely enter a more relaxed state. It makes your blood more alkaline, apparently.
Yep.
Improves immunity, reduces inflammation, which maybe over time could have assisted with the ankle that you were having pain in. And actually what I also read is that it can affect key pleasure transmitters like dopamine and serotonin. So I think what your chiropractor was trying to get you to do, maybe it would take more sessions to see like full benefits of this, but maybe he was onto something, Mecca. I mean,
I listen. I'm
might have
not
been
going
onto it.
to discount it. I'm gonna fall right in line and surrender to the practice. So,
Surrender to the practice.
surrender to
I'm
it.
glad you said that. I'm glad you said that. So, for simplicity's sake, in breath work, there's a lot of different ways and breath patterns that you could approach. So you mentioned some numbers. So yes, there's 4-7-8 breathing we're familiar with, which is actually falls in the category of, so that if you were back up and say what are the different categories of breath work, and for simplicity's sake, we'll say slow breathing and fast breathing. So fast breathing would help you be alert. In this instance, would temporarily increase cortisol. You'll see this more often in more modern breathwork practices. And 4-7-8 breathing is an example of this. So I'm going to walk you through some 4-7-8 breathing, Mecca, and let me know if you feel like this is similar to what you did before. And then we'll go through slow breathing and we'll see how you feel about that. How's that sound?
All right. Sounds good.
Okay. All right. So in 4-7-8 breathing, they recommend you do this in 4 to 8 cycles. So as a beginner, we'll just say 4 cycles is ideal here. So the idea is that you would begin this by pressing the tip of your tongue to the roof of your mouth behind your top front teeth. And then once you've done that, you would let your lips part and make a whooshing sound, exhaling completely through your mouth. Then you would close your lips, inhale silently through your nose, and count to 4. Then you would hold that for 7 seconds, and then make another whooshing, count down to 7. Then you would make another whooshing exhale from your mouth for 8 seconds to release. Okay, so ideally you would do this 4 times. Does this sound similar to what your chiropractor was trying to introduce you to?
It was,
Or
it
is
was a different
this
form of it.
different?
Yeah, just a different
Yeah.
count, and it was through the belly,
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, I get it. It's funny because it's one of those things that they're like, keep letting it out, keep letting it out. Then what if you have no more breath to let out? Like,
Okay, so something I have heard is that we tend to inhale primarily through like our chest, like our thoracic chest, and then exhale, but not exhale completely. So I think if you're getting to a point where you're exhaling and you're counting, but you've already run out of breath, it's perhaps that you didn't take as deep of an inhale in actually,
okay.
or it could be that you mentally think that you've exhaled, but you haven't really exhaled. So, or you haven't exhaled to the extent possible. And I've started practicing belly breathing that, like you mentioned,
Okay.
actually using a balloon. So I'd recommend this actually. You get a balloon and you fill that balloon up to the extent that you can, and then you begin to release it. When you release the air out of the balloon, try to also be exhaling through your body and try to kind of pace yourself with the balloon. You'll come to find over time as you do this that you actually have more air in you that you're not releasing.
Okay.
And I
like
think that once you exhale to the bottom of your belly, you'll actually start to sense these kind of neurotransmitters, this release of dopamine and relaxation actually happening. So that is a pointer that I've learned recently. Okay. On the topic of slow breathing, counter to fast breathing, slow breathing ideally should help you feel relaxed, should lower cortisol. And examples of this would be belly breathing, like we've just discussed, or alternate nostril breathing. Are you familiar with alternate nostril breathing, Mecca?
Is it you put your finger over one nostril, a left or right, and try to
Yes.
focus on a left or right nostril?
Yes. So for our listeners out there, you would ideally take your hand and you would use your thumb to cover one nostril and inhale in, and then use your ring finger and your pinky finger to you would cover your nose with your thumb, one nostril, breathe in, hold that, release your thumb, and then take your pinky and ring finger to hold your other nostril and release outward. So you're inhaling through one nostril and exhaling through the other.
Okay.
And I believe I read somewhere that this helps to calm and settle your just your overall nervous system. I think they say that you can reduce your nervous system activity or senses by like 10% or more, something like that. So
I like
it's
that.
definitely helpful and relaxing. Yeah.
So
just know breath work is a real thing. That there's different techniques and methodologies, and it's something that is worth exploring. And that is the 15-minute rundown.
Oh, we already hit the 15-minute. I had a question.
Go ahead. What's the question?
What do you say to people, once you start, a lot of people are exercising outside and doing jogging outside, and this is mainly for beginners where you have to get acclimated to like running and walking outside.
Okay.
What kind of breathing should one be doing to kind of to have an effective run, jog, or walk outside? I noticed that whenever I haven't walked or jogged outside in a long time, my breathing actually makes me more tired than the actual jog or walk.
Oh, really?
Because I'm not breathing correctly. If I'm taking short breaths, I'm working harder, right? So what kind of advice would you give someone that's beginning to like jog outside or walk outside to kind of like make an effective exercise with breathing?
Yeah, so I've always been taught that inhaling through your nose and exhaling through your mouth to start is helpful. And then making sure you're pacing your breathing with so you have to be thinking about what else is happening in your body. So inhaling through your nose, exhaling through your mouth. If you are pumping your arms should be down by your side and moving up and down, not what's called rocking the baby. So with your arms going side to side. Okay. And then thinking, if you're running, for example, or jogging, you want to be thinking about connecting your breathing pattern, so that inhale, exhale, the breath cycle, to your stride, and making sure that you're fully opening your legs. And so an exercise that you can do for that to like really get connected to what's a natural stride for you is actually running full pace and opening your legs as wide as you can. And then that helps you to understand what your pace could be versus what your natural pace is. Because you'll see a lot of people who are doing like that marathon shuffling, right? Yep. That's actually going to disturb your breath pattern. And as you said, you're using more energy for that small movement because you're shallow breathing in shorter increments. So the idea here is that you want to connect your breathing to your stride. And so opening up your stride will actually help to align your full body in the running activity, and then hopefully help you build up endurance and speed over time. So those are my comments on breathing while walking, jogging, running.
Love it. Thank you, Ashley. Thanks for upgrading our breathwork knowledge.
Yeah, anytime. So we're just going to be talking. Okay. Mecca, I am so excited to play this game with you. Okay, I made up this game, and it's called Fire and Ice. Are you ready?
Fire and Ice, baby. I'm ready.
Yes. Are you ready? Okay. Yeah. So this is the game where opposites attract, but we have to ask ourselves, do they really? All right. So Mecca, I have to ask you, if Erykah Badu and Rand Paul were in a room together, what would they talk about?
Erykah will probably ask him about his soul and find out if his heart is really in it.
If his heart is really in it. you think Rand Paul would have a question for Miss Badu?
What was going through your head when you performed On and On?
First of all, do you think Rand Paul is going to know what On and On
Well,
is?
he will know who he's going to be in a room with. It's not going to be a random meetup.
Okay. So you think he would, or like a staffer would do the research and be like,
Absolutely.
if you were in a room with Miss Badu, this is what you would ask.
Yes.
But do you think he has a staffer who knows who Erykah Badu is?
He has to have a young staffer, and if he doesn't, then they're going to have to do the research.
Mecca, it's Rand Paul. Do you think he has a young staffer who knows who Erykah Badu is? He probably got a bunch of millennials, white millennials at that, Mecca.
I agree, but they should also, anytime it's a candidate or anyone that has this staff of people that is there to ensure their person, boss, manager, whatever, looks good, they're not going to send them into a situation where they have no knowledge. We only know a couple of people that will allow themselves to go into a room with no knowledge.
Okay, that's fair. All right, next round. If Michelle Obama and Stephen King had to write a book together, what would the book be about? Or what would the title be?
Black Women Kill. No, I don't know.
So basically, it would be a book written version of The Last 48 or Snapped. That's what you're saying?
Of Snapped, exactly. Why Women Kill.
Okay. All right. So this is another one. This one, I think you'll relate to very much. So, let's think about essential oils, right? So that you would rub a little lavender oil on you or on your pillow or put in your bath to like relax, decompress, chill at night, right?
Yeah.
And for me, I would use a little orange oil, right? To wake up in the morning, a little citrus to the senses, right? You with me?
I'm with you.
With me? Okay. If you mixed orange and lavender essential oils, what would you be doing once you mix them? You're not sleeping, you're not waking up. What would you be doing?
I'm not sleeping and I'm not waking up. I'm meditating.
Yes. And so you could see if you had orange essential oil and lavender essential oil mixed, you would be using that to meditate.
Yes, because in meditation, I need to be calm and relaxed, but my mind does not need to go to sleep. I need to be actively involved with the meditation. I think so. What would you do?
I would probably be taking a nap, no lie. I would be like, I'm confused. I think it's midday. I think this is nap time. Oil.
Do you use orange oil essential to kind of?
I do.
Up? Okay.
I do. I use it more like in the morning. I actually try to mix it in with like my face creams and stuff. Like, or anytime that there's some vitamin C product, I put a little extra burst of orange oil in it because I feel like that wakes me up in the morning. But, those are some thoughts. Okay.
That's nice.
All right. The bonus round. We kind of already talked about this one. But if Beyonce and Solange, with their varying aesthetics, came together to make a song, what would the song be about?
Oh, gosh. What would the song be about? Let's see. Well, if history serves me correctly, Beyonce.
Oh God, we go into history.
I have to bring it all in to understand what I'm saying. Okay, Beyonce.
Let's do it.
Beyonce portrays herself on as a passive aggressive, and Solange portrays herself as an aggressor. And I'm not saying either one of them are right. That's just what if you look at it, what we see, that's the presentation that's presented. So the song would definitely be about a relationship. And it could be male or female. Friendship or romantic is what I'm trying to say. About letting things go that don't serve you.
Ooh.
And it'll have a funky, mellow beat. It'll be catchy. So it'll have that, like Beyonce, we know it, but it also give you that instant that would completely be a whiskey and incense combo.
Right?
Because it would definitely be about letting things go that doesn't serve you, but in a very fun, sassy, I rule the world kind of way, but with a relaxed tone that Solange brings.
So that's how you would combine it. That's how you would see it. I support that. Do you think that that's the conversation they had after that infamous elevator fight? Like,
I think I always say what was going on in both they had. In my mind, Beyonce was like, "Girl, don't." Before they got on the elevator, don't say nothing. And then she was like, "No, I'm sick of you not saying shit. I got this."
I would agree.
Was like, okay,
because she definitely was standing there watching.
She just surrendered.
Okay.
She said, "Okay," and I always say this because you have to remember, Jay-Z have known Solange a long time of her life.
Yeah.
Because she was so young.
That's true.
And so she probably doesn't look at Jay-Z like, oh, that's Jay-Z or that's Beyonce's husband. It's almost probably, I would assume, like a brother, because he's known her for a long period of her life.
Yeah.
Young adult to an adult. And she seems to be, they both get it from Tina.
That's what B said, right?
I can tell that her mom is very into herself. I can tell her mom is very much so, hey, don't let anybody walk over you. Mm-hmm. Be a complete woman, be an independent woman, love hard, but, fight even harder. Like, I feel like Solange was like, I got your back, even if you don't want me to have it.
But why do you think Matthew Knowles is the way Matthew Knowles is then, with Tina being how she is?
I mean, why does any man cheat? Why does any man,
because they can.
We look at we try to come up with a solution. Everybody's like, if Halle Berry got cheated on, everybody's gonna get cheated out, So sometimes what we've learned is that men cheating have nothing to do with the woman that they're with.
You're right.
So I try to think of it in that terms. There's nothing that Tina would have done or any other woman would have done. That's just something that he decided. That was the decision he decided to make.
Okay. All right. Well, this concludes a round of Fire and Ice.
Fire and Ice.
Catch us next time on Incense and Whiskey.
In the meantime, take a breath, have a sip.